at one MLG and was like in pool play for 5 years after that.
There was one MLG he wasn't even playing StarCraft 2 that much. He was casting much more, and then he still got it in a group play
with fucking Flash and shit. Like,
what I know, it's crazy. Oh man, yeah. So it's along the lines of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's not as insane.
Yeah, not as bad.
But
yeah.
All right,
so I mean, it's a similar thought.
Yeah. So first you've got to understand how WCS points are actually distributed. There are 3 tiers of WCS points, yeah? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. And they all have different requirements, such as a Tier 1 event will have to have a certain prize pool. It's got to be a live event. There's got to be live casters there. There's a bunch of rules for them. We were trying to get Tier 3 for SanDisk, but we couldn't end up doing it because there's a minimum requirement that 25% of your slots must come from qualifiers of some description. And there was something else as well that, you know, I think we still had to have a live venue or whatever, which we didn't have, so we weren't able to qualify. But this 25% thing applies to pretty much every tier, yeah? You'd think it would be a bit weird for it to apply to a Tier 1 event, yeah? Which gives a lot of WCS points out, right?
Right.
But it still does. And what they don't do is specify where those qualifiers actually have to come from. Yeah, it's not 25% qualifiers per region; it's 25% qualifiers. So the example that I brought up, which is probably the worst example, I think. And by the way, before you go insane, I don't want to blame Take for this. This is the systems issue, right? This is the systems problem. So Take does Home Story Cup, and the latest Home Story Cup, I believe, ended up being I think it was a Tier 2. If I recall correctly.
Okay.
Am I right on that one? Actually, it was a Tier 1. It had 4,000 WCS points.
Oh, wow.
Which I believe, yeah, it was a Tier 1 event. And that tournament had 32 players, yeah? Which means that 8 of those players had to come through qualifiers, right? Yeah, they did. Okay. But only 2 of them came through the Korean qualifier. 4 came from a European qualifier, and 2 came from the American qualifier. So out of all of the players in Home Story Cup, they had only 2 out of 32 come through this qualifier, right? And they invited a bunch of other people, as they always do. You know, they've got 24 invites. And IEM kind of does the same thing. IEM invites people that have a lot of WCS points already, which is a bit weird, because they're already winning. So what you're basically doing there is handing them a sort of rich get richer permit. And this is why players like MC are as high up in the list as they are, because they keep getting invites to tournaments where they're probably going to make the round of 8, right? And they're going to walk away with some WCS points. And the lion's share of them obviously came from his win at WCS Season 1 in the EU. But he's got a lot of points from tournaments that he's actually been invited to. The problem that I've got with that system should kind of be now, it's that these tournaments become kingmakers for the WCS system. And I have a feeling that's, you know, if things go the way they are, that's going to become an even more important next year. And yet, there's no real oversight on who is invited, and it's entirely up to the tournament who gets invited. And I'm fine with that. I mean, I run invitationals, almost always just invitationals. I'm fine with that. But you don't expect WCS points for doing that, yeah? And I feel that if you're going to have WCS points be given out as part of your event, you need to have a shitload more qualifier spots. Because there's a reason why, if we look at the top 16 right now, there are actually barely any Kesper players, even though the Kesper players are clearly a shitload better than, you know, maybe it's insulting to people, but I personally think there's a lot of Kesper players that are better than Hyun and Stardust and Polt, especially Polt lately. You know, he's been flagging a bit. But they don't get up in that top 16 unless they get a really big win on you know, once in a blue moon, Kesper will send them to an event.
Yeah, I mean, that's, God, yeah, the rich get richer. That's definitely not a great policy here. And actually, Snoot's really close. I didn't really realize he was that close. So with the WCS points, I mean, are those the huge motivation for the players going? Like, I've never really understood if it was
absolutely
or not. Okay.
No, they really aren't. But the thing is that closer to BlizzCon, the shit becomes way more important.
Sure.
And IEM at this point, with their invites, is able to have a serious impact, especially bearing in mind that the IEM already has kind of a fairly small open bracket, and that people actually get pushed out of the open bracket in favor of others. And, you know, I think you're probably going to find out about a little bit of that in... There's some of that kind of that's been going on with Toronto. And we're actually working through a couple of issues with that at the moment. I don't want to talk about it right now because we need to figure this out. But more often than not, if a big player comes along and says, "Oh, well, I want to play in the open bracket," then a tournament like that is more than welcome to just shove somebody out in favor of them because they know they'll get higher viewers there. And what can happen? I mean, this favoritism can occur. It's the top-heavy stuff that really bothers me. It's like, okay, great, Tasia's getting invited to another event, guys. And that's great because Tasia has a big fan base, but that puts Tasia in a position where he has so much control over a larger pool of WCS points than any of these other guys.
They're kind of
If you look at Taja's list here, it's kind of crazy because he earned a total of 1,200 points from seasons 1
yeah,
to
from actual WCS.
And he earned 3,000 points from winning those tournaments that he won.
Yes. And some of those are opens, like him winning DreamHack, totally cool. I mean, that's an open tournament. I love DreamHack's format for that reason. But Home Story Cup, not an open tournament. IEM, not an open tournament.
Right.
He's walked away with a lot of points from IEM. And I believe he's getting invited again to Toronto. Did I hear that right? I'm pretty sure I did. So he has yet another invite to Toronto, if I wouldn't be surprised. Correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you propose? So you're proposing a larger percent, like, because they're kind of counter. They're kind of counterproductive, right? Like when you're a tournament organizer, you want to have these popular players there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They're going to be the same players. They are definitely going to be the same players. They're going to be showing up at every event if that was the case. But
yeah, actually, I nobly tell you. Oh no, never mind. That's actually the open bracket. He is going. Yeah, okay.
But we need to have these we need to have the ability for anybody to make it into these tournaments at the same time. So what are you proposing? 50% qualifiers? What do you think? I mean, or just not awarding WCS points to these events?
Well, I mean, I think if you're going to have... I think the majority should be qualifiers. Yeah? So 50% or higher. I don't think it has to be everything because running a lot of qualifiers is a difficult thing to do. You need a lot of casters. You need a lot of stream time. You need a lot of production, especially if you're going to do the qualifiers like out of the ESL studio. That's man hours. That's cameramen. That's production staff. That is... also just time on your stream that might end up being used somewhere else. And, you can't run your casters into the ground. If you've got 3 casters, it's like, we're going to do 16 qualifiers, and they're going to be 16 tournaments. Like, you fucking what? I mean, it's too much StarCraft, isn't it, right? But I think that if you want to go with majority invites, then you have to give up your WCS points, as far as I'm concerned.
What if they just make the WCS points scale based on how many, what percentage of the field is invites? I feel like the WCS system is sort of inflexible.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird. Like, I think a tier 1 event, if you're going to get tier 1, you should be having, the majority of your guys should be qualifiers. You want to do tier 3, and you want to have 75% invites, and you want to have only 2 spots for Asian qualifier, cool, great, do it. But you get tier 3 status. I think, you shouldn't be able to have both. The alternative is that you take WCS points out of the equation entirely. Because actually, people don't really go to these events for WCS points unless there's a big spot on the line for BlizzCon. So right now there's a lot of focus on the last few tournaments before BlizzCon because they're actual deciders. Yeah,
that's what happened last year too. Is no one pays attention to that at all until the
end.
Well, I mean, I think some of them have paid attention, and they're probably the guys that are actually at the top right now. Like
when I say no one, I mean like fans, like people that are watching.
Yeah,
that never comes into the equation outside of a random tweet here and there.
Yeah. You've got to also bear in mind that even if a team does pay attention, doesn't mean they can get in. We try to send players to Shenzhen. It was Shenzhen, right? I think so. Yeah, and they're just and as soon as we heard about the open bracket, we applied for a spot and we didn't get it, and it's just no, it's full. So we had no way of going there. We knew about the tournament well in advance. We got in as early as we could, and they're just nope, no spots, sorry. And that seems to also be happening again with Toronto. So,
wow.
I mean, and...
You got beat by Maru.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're trying to find out what's going on there because Ryung actually was given the okay by IEM to attend the open bracket. And for some reason, he's not on the list. We're trying to find out. It seems like there's been some kind of miscommunication there. Didn't buy our plane tickets yesterday because holy shit. But it seems like there's something we need to figure out there with IEM. I don't know what's happened there, and I'm not going to make any accusations because there could be anything. But obviously, I'll update people once I know what's going on.
Okay.
But that's a tier 1 event, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of WCS points on the line there for a lot of different players, and you've also got to bear in mind there's other things like distribution of WCS points to various regions. Do you think that MC should get as many points as Zest did for Season 1 for who he beat? Do you think that Hyun should get as many points as that? Because currently it's all equal. Do you? But
I don't know.
It's so hard to make that.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with that part of it.
Like you almost have to make it totally arbitrary if you're going to start walking that line, because there's no real way to make a system that has guidelines that are acceptable and that are easily followed outside of just kind of randomly awarding them. Just because you're starting to rate quality of opponents, and then you can, like, the best you can do is maybe scale it with like a ranking system like ELO or something. But even that's very, very like. I
don't know. I think given the actual structure right now, I think awarding the same points when you win a region is fine. It's really all those other tournaments that you're talking about. I think that's where a lot of people, I think, are having an advantage. All the popular players are having an advantage over everybody else, and that's really where we need to take a look at how we should change that, because
I think something this is like an interesting idea. I don't know if you could actually make this work, but like, what if every player had like a point value on their head, and it was you could only so like, let's say you have like a like every season, every player starts off with like 50,000 points for like an invite pool or something, right? And if you get invited to like a 10,000 point tournament, then that comes out of your invite pool. And once that pool is exhausted, that player is ineligible to be invited to any more tournaments. So I don't know if something like that would work out, but I think it would be interesting to limit. So then after you like, let's say Tasha's got like.
It wouldn't be fair to event organizers then. Like,
you're running
anybody's
a lot
at the
of
end of the year.
Well, you have to decide how many points everything's worth.
Well, sure, but I mean, like, let's just say, like, everybody starts out with the same pool. That, at least it means that, like, Tasia or whatever isn't going to be invited to every single event, because early on in the season, like, his shit would be exhausted, and the only way he could get into those WC events would be through open qualifiers. He wouldn't just be invited into everything. And people would be forced to look elsewhere to invite people? I don't know.
I mean, looking at it from an event organizer, and, you yourself just organize an event, I think the event organizers can do whatever they want from that.
You can't look at it from the event organizer.
Just don't award them the WCS points. Like, I think that's the solution.
Then
they shouldn't
can wheel and deal in between themselves and trade invites for other stuff. Be sick.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, I
have no doubt that stuff has already happened.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
No question that doesn't already happen.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think
looking at it from the event organizer's perspective, the event organizer has no interest in keeping, and this isn't to shit talk, but it's just true. The event organizer has zero interest in keeping WCS competition legitimate. That's not their job. They could care less about it, or they couldn't care. They could not care less about it. Yeah,
and they shouldn't have to
they just want to. They just want the most. Yeah, they just want to get the most entertaining players. So that. Yeah, so if that means inviting Tasia to every single WCS tournament, then that's what's going to happen. So it's not really a matter of like, well, this isn't fair to the event organizers. Well, I mean, it probably won't be, because if everything was good for them, then I mean, we wouldn't have this problem in the first place. Like, obviously, their interests kind of clash a little bit with the interests of keeping WCS, relatively legitimate and not having the same players fighting, for WCS points every single tournament.
Yeah, and just to point out the obviously you can see how the breakdown is, but just to point out the players that I feel like are getting the most points right now. You're looking at Tasia, like Heyoka mentioned, Polt, Jaedong. Jaedong's gotten like 2,500 or something. Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. 2,550 and 400 from the actual.
I know, 400 from the actual.
That's by far the biggest.
Wow.
The biggest
percentage-wise.
Hero as well, who's currently in 18th place, who has bombed out of WCS America like twice in a row. Jaedong, who's bombed out repeatedly, and obviously has this season where he might actually be able to go far. And it's very strange to see that, because you then get into issues of team's travel budget and whether a team that has more money simply has more advantages than WCS. Because let's look at where Jaedong picked up the rest of his points to be in 9th place. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 live tournaments, by the looks of it, in the past 6 months that he's been able to go to. Now compare that, the further you go down the list, the less and less and less that you see. And you notice that the people that are really high up on the points list are those that have either big individual sponsorships or had the foresight to move to Europe. Like the little cabal, the bounty hunters that live in Europe. Most of them pretty far at the top, right? Hyun, MC, these guys that moved to Europe to get involved in all this stuff, very, very high up. Why wouldn't they be? They based themselves in Europe because they knew the majority of WCS tournaments are in Europe, which means they can attend a lot more of them. Whereas the guys that are kind of grounded in Korea, and especially if you're grounded by Kesper, who probably won't let you attend an event, well, if I look at Maru's points,
look at Maru,
he's 550. He's got good earnings here. I mean, look at this, like 500 from season 1, 750 from season 2, and then what else? 100 from GSL Global Championship, which was an online tournament. That's it.
That's
Nothing else. Because he didn't get to go to
crazy.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, he has an age issue too, though. I mean, he's got another limitation.
I don't know. I think he's old enough now. You know.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
now, but that's why he's going to
telling
IM
me-
Toronto.
Are you
right?
telling me that Maru was worse than Paul? Like, are you telling me that, or the Bomber is better than Paul? Sorry, Bomber is better than Maru, because I don't believe that. But the WCS ranking says that that's true, and that means Maru, unless say he wins Toronto, which is probably, or he wins WCS Korea this year, with this last season, is not going to BlizzCon. It's not going to happen. And I think that would be a bit of a shame because he would be a fantastic competitor within that tournament.
Yeah, it's true.
It's sort of funny with all this moving stuff. Like, we have that convention where we put the country flag next to every player, but we should actually have either an extra flag or change that to the country they're living in. Because if you look at this top 16 list, all of these have the Korean flag, but like,
Very few are actually
maybe
Korean.
half of these people don't live in Korea and haven't for a while.
Well, only 1, 2, 3, 5. Looks like 5 of them are in the Korean region, right? I think.
Yeah, it's also
yeah.
not
I mean,
at all
It's
related to the
Sue,
region
Hero,
they're
SOS.
from.
Yeah, and they're all at the
Classic,
bottom
and
too,
Zest.
except for
Yeah.
Zest. Because, wow,
And they're
okay.
towards the bottom too. Like they're actually
Yeah. They might be
there's a-
kicked
there's a
out. They
real-
might be knocked out. Yeah.
There is a very real risk that in the next month Snoop may pass Sue and knock him out of the top 16. You know? Or that Bunny's currently 23rd. If Bunny does well in WCS EU, Bunny could very well pass SOS, CJ Hero, you know, and that would be great for him. But look at where he picked those points up. 750 points from the Gfinity line he just won. And he did win a major tournament against a strong Korean. And that's fantastic. And I love that. But it does screw the rankings up just a little bit, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
he's not
and we have
the
to-
person I would target for that. But...
We have to
He
get
did actually
back.
qualify, to be fair to him, for that.
Oh, he did, absolutely, yeah. And that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
the
he
fact
did.
that he didn't get invited to that and
Wasn't
actually
one of
went
the
through is
invites,
awesome.
even though that was
That's
like
why I think,
75%
he's one of
invites.
those that kind of really deserves that stuff. But, a lot of these points that are being picked up are on an invite-only kind of basis.
Yeah,
And I just don't want to see more of that. I think it's unhealthy.
We just have to think about what the point of this was. Just WCS Championship is. It's we wanted to bring the best players.
I thought
at
it was
least
to find the
from-
best Korean player in every region.
we wanted to
this
bring
guy.
the best players, or at least the best players from the designated regions together. And I think this system that we have doesn't necessarily accomplish that if a lot of players
No,
are able
it
to
doesn't.
snipe a lot of the tournaments. Yeah, so I think that needs to change for sure. Hopefully Blizzard's taking a look at that. They're aware of that. It's cool that you brought it up, though.
I'm already I know for a fact that they're aware of the
Okay,
issue.
good.
As to what they'll do about it, I don't know that yet. So
I really
what
liked
I'm
how their
hoping-
solution was like, oh, well, we'll just change it so that it's harder to qualify if you're a Korean living in America. But the ones who are already here, we can't stop that. And so obviously none of them get knocked out. It's just like,
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you-
Well, it's hard
it's always
to-
been.
They've leaked a few of the things that they're going to do for next season. There's a lot of radical changes. Some of the artwork that's come out, they've got a sign outside the BlizzCon convention. You must be this white to play in WCSNA. You haven't seen any of that stuff?
Blood
Oh my
tests.
god.
They're
You gotta
worried
look
about
at
a
your
public
ancestry.
Oh my
reception.
god.
Worried about public reception right now, so they're.
You gotta get a
Race
that
ID
on your
instead of
jacket.
content ID. Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh man.
I think they'll have a look at it. I mean, and let's be honest, they revamped WCS heavily for 2014. They'll probably do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't really keep going this way, right? I mean, they'll have to do something. As to what they do, I don't know. Do you take the WCS points away from third-party tournaments entirely? I think the argument that they initially made was they wanted to be inclusive of these tournaments and get them into the WCS storyline. But
out
no
maybe
one
that was not
actually
right.
believes that because no one gives a shit about WCS points until it actually matters, like whenever the
Well,
last tournament
this-
is, or when there's someone at 16th place and 17th place. That's when it matters, and that's the only time it matters.
Quite honestly, this is the first time I looked at the rankings in 4 months.
Yeah,
5
since
months.
last
I
year
mean,
when,
none of these
Nani
tournaments
was really
even
close to number
advertise
16.
this. None of the,
No,
the,
they don't.
the tournaments should
There's
totally
no
be
content created
No one
around
says
this.
shit about it.
I know they should totally I am or whoever is having a tournament. They should totally be talking about this, how this, what the implications are, right? What for being in the tournament and that sort of thing. I don't even see any of this. That's why I wasn't even sure that players even go to these things for the points. That's crazy.
Well, they go for the money, but the points are nice.
It's just a bonus, just more than anything.
Yeah, I
else.
mean, do you think Hyun cares about points? He
Right.
has more than double the number of points that Pig Baby does, who's in 16th place. There is no way Hyun is not going to BlizzCon. He has 5,375 points. And is my mathematics correct there?
There's no way. I mean, even if you win this season, you have to have 8
Okay,
people win
so
the season, 10 people win the
my
season.
my extreme ignorance is showing. If the top 16 people with the points are they just drafted in period, or is there seeding that goes on based on the points?
I imagine there's some degree of seeding. I'm not sure how they're doing it this
That's a
year.
good
I'm
question.
trying to remember how they
Was
did
there
it
last year?
But,
Was there seeding?
I don't think there
actually
was
remember.
seeding last
there was,
year.
yeah, it was
there?
because like didn't Naniwa get put up against the number 1 seed?
You're right.
Yeah, I think
you're
you're right.
There was seeding. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that-
1 for 16.
I
yeah.
wonder if the WCS stuff would change if people would care about the points more. Remember how MLG seeding used to work? How like if you do really good in groups, you were actually seated
Oh,
farther
this is
ahead.
hilarious. We were talking about this while you were AFK and saying it was the
God
worst
damn
system
it.
ever because of
never
in
mind.
control, actually.
Well, no. But that was different because that had to do more with like the residual seeding from like previous tournaments. What I'm saying is like let's
Previous
just say you start
year.
off like brand fucking new and you look at like a new WCS tournament. Maybe the guy who finishes first is actually seeded into like a round of 8 versus like a round of 32, a round of 16. I don't know. Maybe to make people care about the points more. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Or, I mean, alternatively, you just give up on the idea of people caring about points entirely. You use it as an arbitrary system to figure out who's going to be at BlizzCon, and you say, look, you got to win lots, guys, and you try not to make it ridiculously unfair, and you try not to make sure that the people that get constantly invited to this stuff are also just being given points for the sake of it.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. All right, well, let's wrap that up, and we're going to do some sub call-ins. You guys ready for this?
I'm ready. I don't have any subs though.
Can I leave?
Yeah, you can leave if you want, sure. It's
I
cool.
wasn't planning on being here this
I know,
time.
he
I was
wasn't planning
for
on being here
Twitch
this...
thing, and
Yeah,
you
so he
roped
stayed
me
for
in with the
extra.
fucking rest of it. You threatened to downvote all my Reddit posts until I
my-
stayed.
That's right, man. My channel man, alt R.
I mean, even the best of us, even Uniden does it, so there's no shame.
That's Cupcake got him. Too.
Yes,
Yeah,
my lady,
busted too.
truly the best of us.
Yeah. All right, TV. Thanks for thanks for joining in, and obviously it's great to always get your opinion, and it's always great discussions when you're part of it. So appreciate you. jumping
I'll stick
in.
around.
You're gonna stick around? Okay, you're gonna actually stick around. All
Yeah,
right,
why
cool.
not?
Eric,
Why not?
You're gonna stick around for the troll calls. All right, here we go.
The intimidation.
Let's fucking do
Because the
it.
questions DJ Week gets are terrible.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah,
all right,
I
so
know.
just to
I'd be on the
preface
show
this,
for that.
all right, these are sub call-ins from Destiny's site and from this channel, and
Oh, Jesus
they have
Christ.
been
This is good for
Screened
me
a little
because I
bit,
can mock
so we'll
them
see.
and they don't come out of my sub base.
Well, I mean, that guy doesn't look like a serial killer, so this should be okay.
Jacob, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Hey, welcome to
Hello.
Unfiltered, man.
Yeah. First, I want to do a quick shout out to my mom. She's watching the stream. She loves Totalbiscuit like so much.
All
Hi,
right.
Jacob's mom.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jacob.
She loves you. Okay. Also, shout outs to WrestleMania. And my question
Oh, God.
is, how do you guys feel about Robin Williams? I feel this is video game related because he named his daughter Zelda. So I think this is an appropriate question for Unfiltered.
All right, well, it's super
Can I-
sad.
can I take this?
Extremely
Can I
sad.
take this
By
one,
all
Chan Man?
means, it's all
What?
yours, Steve.
So, this is actually well, I can even answer this somewhat seriously because one of the one of the recurring things that popped up on like a lot of this more is just kind of speaking to like a suicide and whatnot. A lot of the things that popped up, a lot of people were like, how can Robin Williams commit suicide? Like there were so many people that loved him. There were so like he always made people laugh, blah blah blah. And I know this personally because over the past like few weeks, like I've been having like a lot of issues in my personal life. Just something to keep in mind when you talk about public figures. It's really cool that like we have lots of fans or that I can tweet and people retweet me and that there are people like that. But the kind of enjoyment or the kind of the kind of love and acceptance that you get from general fans is never, ever, 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 ever going to be a replacement for the connections that you have in your personal life. So whether that has to do with relationships, potential relationships, or close friends or family, those kinds of things, if you're having a lot of trouble or a lot of issues dealing with that kind of stuff, you will never, ever, ever be able to supplement that with having a fan base. A lot of people look to the Robin Williams stuff, and I saw a lot of comments in the Reddit threads, again, reiterating what I said before, they're like, oh, he had so many fans, he was so funny, blah, blah, blah. Even if that's true, it doesn't necessarily mean that, because I heard that Robin Williams had to deal with alcoholism and a lot of other stuff. If they're
Also
dealing with a lot of,
bipolar,
like,
so.
personal... Sure, yeah, bipolar depression. If you're dealing with a lot of personal stuff like that, just having a lot of fans or whatever doesn't make all of that stuff go away. It's actually the exact opposite. It has no impact on it whatsoever at all. If you're feeling like shit because there's a lot of stuff going on personally, all the fans in the world aren't going to change your outlook on that. Just
Yeah.
like a,
Yeah, I mean
it's a
they're
random
not
thing.
they're not
I-
close
I couldn't
relationships.
agree more.
You know what I mean? And I mean to answer your question, it's really sad. I think Robin Williams personally for me is one of the greatest comedians ever to live. Like he's one of those guys that like every time you saw him, whether it was like a talk show or a movie or even stand up, he was like immersed in the comedy, right? I mean, the guy was so funny all the time. Even when he was supposed to have a serious conversation, he was just always some kind of character, whether it was real or not. So it's really sad to actually lose him. Depression is a disease. I mean, it's
a real thing.
It's a real thing, and you can't. It's not easy to get out of it. You need help to get out of it, and sometimes, you know, some of these folks or some of these people just don't reach out or a little bit too late in reaching out. And I don't know if everybody even knew. I mean, I think they said that people knew that he was struggling with depression, but I guess to the degree sometimes you just don't know how bad it is, right? A lot of people are good at hiding it. I'm sure Robin Williams is probably great at hiding it.
It's more a case it's very hard to explain it to somebody else. There's, funnily enough, not really, but on Steam right now there's a game that you can play. It's an interactive fiction game. It's called Depression Quest, and the idea of the developer was to try and explain what depression is, like from the perspective of someone that has had it to someone that hasn't. Because like hearing like my wife talk about it, for instance, because she's gone through it and continues to from time to time. Have her to try and kind of explain it to me as someone that hasn't gone through that is very difficult because it's not something you can really relate to, and that's why so many people don't understand what depression is and why it's actually a very highly stigmatized disease. And my hope is that that what comes out of this tragedy is that people become more aware that depression is not just, oh, I'm sad and don't want to go out today. Depression, the way that I had it described to me, is that everything you see and hear and think and feel is gray.
Imagine
and
being
it's
in a
nothing
thick
but this
fog
suffocating.
all the time.
Yeah, big fog and just
the biggest,
down. I mean,
the biggest fucking problem with this, and it's actually really, really, like in a twistedly hilarious, ironic way, is that psychologists did a really shit job when they named it. They shouldn't have actually called it depression. They should have used a different fucking word, because like depression in the medical sense is so much different than just being depressed, or like, oh, you know, like I've been depressed a lot for the past few days, or like I've been in a general depression. It means so much more than having, it means so much different than having clinical depression. I wonder if they had like an actual different word for it, if people would have like a different perception of it, you know?
Possibly, but then
Maybe.
people would hijack the word because people are like, oh, I'm so OCD about this. Like, no, you're not. Like,
Yeah, never mind, you're right.
doing it for hours.
You're not
ago.
lining
call
up your rice in fucking order of picking date.
I actually completely fucking take back what I said. You're absolutely right. People would come home from a sad movie and they would go like, "Oh, I'm so whatever the new word for depression is." So yeah, never mind. You're right.
Yeah, they
you're
would
absolutely
use
fucking
the word
right.
and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's a damn tragedy.
Yeah, it
and what Steven is saying is absolutely right. Like a fan base is not a support structure, and you know I on a several orders of magnitude smaller than what Robin Williams has ever gone through, but on this tiny level, I understand that. Because I've never kind of seen my fan base as a support structure whenever I felt like shit, and I find it almost a vulnerability because those kinds of people can turn on you quite quickly, and you could take something personally, and you think to yourself, well, you know, these guys are supposed to, you know, like me, right? They're supposed to be fans of me, so that stuff can hurt really bad as a direct result of that because there's kind of this idea of betrayal behind it. You need real people as a support structure. You need a real family and friends and social.
I mean, just
kind of contacts to make that work.
I mean, I'm not a fan of yours, so like you can always rely on me, buddy. Okay.
Good, fantastic. I'm glad to know that, man. Thank
9
you.
out of 11 joke, man.
all right. All right. Well, thanks for the question, Jacob.
Yep. Goodbye.
Yep. Okay.
Well, this has started well, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you seen what's going on with his daughter too? She's gotten ton of harassment on Twitter and
Oh my
Instagram.
I'm sure it's awesome.
Yeah,
being
so
the
it's just
daughter
like
of
Yeah,
the-
did
what
you
we were
see
talking
the
about, just with
CNN
the
thing?
following. So, yeah, it's just like
the Maddox picture that was posted was perfect. It was like family request, no interviews, and then like the bottom thing was like live aerial coverage of fucking Robin
Oh, that
Williams'
was on
house
ABC.
or whatever.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Oh my
Fuck.
god!
Oh, like we're
Well,
waiting for
yeah,
like the heat map of like where is the family huddled at crying inside of the house now to check the radar.
Oh my
like,
god!
Jesus, like
Holy shit! We don't got anything else to report.
Well, I'm trying to figure out whether fucking internet trolls are actually worse than major syndicated news networks. I'm not 100% certain. At least internet
hard to
trolls
say.
are not making ad revenue from their bullshit. So let's say that internet trolls are actually more pleasant.
Oh, looks like.
oh hey, I know this dude.
Yeah, I know.
Sneaks up on
He
it.
actually writes for the Daily Dot, I believe.
Yeah.
His mic's broken. That sucks to see. He's gonna ask a
Poor
question.
writers, man. They can't even afford headsets these days. That's ad block for you.
We need
That's
bad
Richard
time
Lewis
to
to
be
talk
a
about
writer.
journalistic integrity and how
Should've anybody
horrible
else
it
here.
is that real journalists don't get paid anymore.
All right. Well, I got two other guys. While we're setting that up, I'll ask a question from the Reddit thread. Thoughts on Carmack's tweet about IEM qualifiers view numbers being higher than IEM back in 2010 from Spaz.
Lies, damn lies, and statistics. I
Wait,
think
did he
is the
did he
term
say
used.
2010?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said 2000.
2010.
Do you remember? Do you remember the
Somebody-
IEM
The golden
2010?
age, man.
There were no
Which
pro
didn't even
tosses.
exist.
It was
We were trying to do
7
shit on
Zerg.
live stream at 400 kbps off this shitty free program.
Using the
FMLE
live streamer
post-
app.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that
holy
was.
shit.
Oh my
Nobody
God, I
wants that
remember
shit.
that.
Like,
I
I
remember
got
that shit.
300
tournament
viewers
was
and
not
I was the most
good.
popular gaming stream in the world back then. Come on.
Oh man, I used live stream back then. Holy
It's mostly
shit.
because
that
Carmack's a
tournament.
shit. Like, I think the problem with Carmack, right, is Carmack is fucking stupidly smart. Like, in an
Yeah.
insane way. He's one of the smartest individuals you'll ever meet. And he's also a complete fucking troll that just tries to get rises out of people. And that's why he posted that.
We also, some people miss like the
God.
really big thing, okay? The most important thing about 2011 and 2012 wasn't the viewership numbers, it was the potential viewership numbers. Nobody was dumping money into 2011 and 2012 based on the viewership of 2011 and 2012. It's absolutely, if you think that, you totally missed the fucking point. People were dumping money in then expecting the same exponential growth that we saw carrying us into 2011 and then kind of
Yeah,
remaining
between
steady.
2010 and
But yeah,
2012,
they were expecting that to carry on into 2013, 20. They were dumping that much money in, expecting that in 2013 we were going to see 500,000 people watching WCS.
Yeah.
In
Well, the
2013
IPL's
we were going to have
business
1
model.
million. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Another thing
Like,
too. Another
It's
thing.
not. It has nothing to do. The disappointment never was about the viewer numbers. The disappointment that started to grow existed in the gap between what the viewer numbers were and what we expected them to be in 2013, 2014. We're not like totally fucking depressed about our viewership numbers now because they're really bad. We're depressed about them now because of what they should have been. That's what all the
Yeah, we're
disappointment
in a
is.
holding pattern. They stopped. Like, to be honest, the views, if you want to do fair comparisons, you look at 2014 versus 2011, 2012. Yeah? Points that actually mattered. That's when things were at their peak. The problem is a lot of those numbers were even obfuscated because MLG, who was
Well,
the
these
biggest
shit
dog
have
at the
never-
time, right?
yeah.
Biggest dog.
Yeah,
Obfuscated
seriously.
all their fucking numbers. So we have no idea
yeah.
how big MLG actually was at that point.
That's true. And IEM
Uh,
also, guys, like in 2010, they weren't nearly as popular as they are now.
No,
I mean,
nobody gives
IEM
a
is like
shit.
the only, like one of the only things we got
it's
now,
not,
right? You know, and IEM's
They
running
had a
all the
tournament that was
WCSs
8
now. And,
people. It was
Not
all
IEM, ESL.
qualifiers. It had no Zergs. It was a week before an MLG that people actually
Yeah.
wanted to go to.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't
sums it
know.
up.
It's
I
a
mean-
very, it's a disingenuous post, but it's Carmack, which probably means he's trolling people. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. But the thing is that we're in a holding pattern. We're maybe slightly bleeding audience, but we're not hemorrhaging. We're kind of stuck around at the same kind of rate. WCS is getting about the same numbers as it always was. These tournaments are doing fairly well for themselves. Online events, actually, in some places, are going up. You know, I said my Sandisk numbers were better than Shoutcraft 4, which was like, that was in 2012 at the peak time when we had fucking Stefano and everybody. We had Stefano Thorzane in the finals. That was a huge deal. We still got better numbers from Sandisk than we
Yeah.
got from them.
I mean, even
Yeah,
even
so-
Steven's tournament, right? I mean, over 20
Yeah,
on the finals.
that's-
I
Yeah,
mean,
Destiny 1 was
that's
way better than the
ridiculous.
tournaments I hosted in 2012.
Yeah.
all right,
That whole obsession over viewer numbers just drives me insane. It's just
Yeah,
so stupid.
it is.
I don't know. I think
There
it
was
just comes
some
out of, it's
legitimacy
out
to
of
it in
concern,
2012.
really.
I mean, viewership, yeah. Lucas, welcome to Unfiltered, man. Oh, I can barely hear you. You gotta turn up your
Bit
volume.
quiet.
Said he was from Brazil. That volume has to travel a long ways. It might lose a lot of its.
You gotta turn up your mic volume a lot. Like, we can barely hear you.
No, he's not
I
talking
think
at
you went
all.
the wrong way. I think you went the wrong way in volume.
He's probably trying to fix his volume, I imagine.
All right, in the meantime, I guess I'll pick another.
Hello, hello. It's
Oh, there you
Kyle
are.
now.
There you are. Now we can hear
thank
you.
Hello.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, welcome, Lucas.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. First of all, just want to thank you guys for the show. It's very good.
Thank you.
It's one of the
thanks.
shows that I'm looking for the week. So, my question is like, in sports in general today, like in Dota, LoL, and StarCraft and Counter Strike, like the tournament system is very defined right now. Like we have a lot of good tournaments running the year long. So the question is like for esports right now, what's the next step? You know, like in my opinion, it's like the teams become bigger than the sports itself. You know, like you have like EG fans that no matter the roster or the game, they're gonna be EG fans or something like that. You know?
Yeah, so you're talking kind of about the strength of these brands for the teams, like TSM probably like the biggest example of like a strong brand, like who is bigger than like they're kind of bigger than any tournament they turn up to, right?
They don't have to win; they're still huge.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think that I'm gonna say something like I don't think the game like the way you see it, like you're going to television and anything like that, because I don't think that esport needs that. Like the numbers will grow, but like in my opinion, it's not enough to sustain like for long time. You know, you need like bigger teams and bigger players and bigger like personalities in some way. You know.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it's like ties in quite nicely to what we were talking about earlier and what Stephen was talking about, the idea that these tournaments were throwing money in based on numbers they thought they would get and based on numbers in the future. Like they were running in the red. A lot of these events are still running in the red. As to how you fix that, that's a really difficult thing to do. You've got to bring more sponsors on board, but that also means you've got to have the viewership to justify it. You've got to be as efficient as possible, but you've got to keep the prize money high, and you've still got to do things like try and provide flights for teams because their sponsorship money's going down, particularly in StarCraft 2, so they can't afford as many people to fly over and all that kind of shit. And it depends on the scene. I mean, Dota, it was in a weird spot where it had the international, and then there wasn't a huge amount else, but recently it had ESL 1 that did really, really well. And it seems like that tournament scene is starting to grow into the live environment. LoL had a lot of live stuff because, like, online, apparently, Steven, you can probably speak more to this, but isn't it really hard to do, like, an online LoL tournament that anyone gives a fuck about? Like, when was the last one you saw?
I don't think, somebody chat can correct me wrong, I don't think anyone gives a fuck about anything outside of LCS.
I mean, Riot makes it that way. Like, makes you only care about
It's only, like, show matches and stuff, right?
Yeah, it certainly seems to be.
Like...
Yeah, StarCraft's interesting because it has a kind of LCS style system with WCS, and then it's got these big LAN tournaments, then these small LAN tournaments, and then various grades of online tournament. You know, you can go from Destiny 1 and SanDisk Shoutcraft that are throwing $5,000, $10,000 prize pools with big players, all the way down to WrestleMania or something along those lines. You know, giving them the free shout out there, guys. There you go. And I actually think that StarCraft's infrastructure is maybe a lot stronger in the long run. There'll be a lot of bleed off eventually, like tournaments will stop happening, more tournaments come in to swap them into there, and I don't know, maybe we have oversaturation, maybe that's a possibility. But outside of that, like, if something horrible were to happen to Riot, like, the tournament scene for League of Legends would basically implode. Whereas if WCS went off the air, the StarCraft scene, it would be less.
Carry on like normal.
Fine. Yeah, it'll be all right. You know, we've got shitloads of other tournaments we can do. So I think the answer to your question is that both brands and tournaments have to diversify in all ways, and that the tournament scene needs to be as varied as possible and as scaled as possible. There's got to be the smallest tournaments all the way up to the fucking hugest and everything in between.
I see. Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you.
Problem, man.
One of the things that people don't talk about a lot too, we talk about like legitimizing esports because we always like to compare ourselves to real sports. Something that like, and I mean, I'll take partial responsibility for this too. Our drama in the esports industry is pretty bad. The real sports industry has figured out well. They've got things like rapes, murders, domestic abuse. We just saw that MMA fighter beat up that porn star. We don't have any of that in the esports thing. Do you think we need more of the like the actual crime to propel us forward into?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think legitimate assault
sex scandals
is the
every
way
once
to
in a while.
legitimize our sport.
We get sex scandals?
Sex scandals
when?
In the esports?
Yeah, there's
14-year-old sex scandals? Is that what you're talking about? What are you talking
okay.
about?
Our sex scandals are like...
Heyoka, I want to hear. Come on.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Are we talking Team Liquid sex scandals here?
Do you not remember that time when that dude made that huge blog post about how his girlfriend went to an MLG and then left with Rhett?
Yeah, but...
Like 2011?
Oh, yes, I remember that.
And you know what?
Okay.
I bet those sex scandals were only happening because those sex scandals were banking on future viewership numbers.
Yeah, they wanted the future tabloid numbers.
You know,
the TMZ.
It started by Rhett stealing girls, and then 4 years later, it's just like prostitution
rings.
Prostitution rings.
It's especially
Okay.
weird because video games cause so many violent atrocities to happen. Video games are like the #1 leading cause of violence in the world. Yet it seems like professional athletes in like football and hockey, and the
They're
NBA
always
and
beating
shit,
people
are
up
all
and
doing
shit.
so much better. Yeah, they're doing so much better than us in terms of violent crime. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't know what to think anymore.
All right, I gotta get a new caller, man. Before this. All right, William
this
has a
dude
mic
fix his
now.
mic?
He has a mic now.
I fucking
Okay.
love this show.
William, what's up?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, man. You got a question for us?
Yeah, so my question is mainly aimed at Heyoka having a
Hello?
lot of experience and knowledge in like running a site, and what you thought about a lot of the CBS interactive cutbacks and the on gamers, I guess you could say layoffs, and like why you think that might be happening in the gaming space, and why people might struggle to hire
Well, this is a very issue that's an issue that's very close to my heart because I got into esports by writing. I was a dude who just wrote for Team Liquid, and then I sort of worked my way up and started doing stuff there. And for a very, very long time, I dreamed of being a writer. That was what I wanted to do. I'm actually very good at writing. I did lots of writing as a kid. The reason that it's very, very annoying for me is that writing has literally no value in this marketplace, like at all. It's a totally useless skill.
Tell
And
Richard
the
that.
problem is that for
Wow.
sites like
telling me to my face that my job is useless.
Yeah,
That
William,
hurts,
so
man.
no,
guys
I'm
that don't know,
saying-
William writes for Daily Dime.
Sorry, I'm saying the value.
No,
the,
I know what-
the
I
skill
know
itself
exactly
is
what you
very,
mean.
very undervalued in the marketplace, and the reason is because static pages just don't generate any ads. They generate very, very little, and that number is only going down, and it's very, very depressing because it's a very difficult thing to do, and you end up with sites like CBSI powers these sites. And they put a lot of money into it, but you can see from the beginning that they're putting way more money into it than they can ever get out of it. And so it's sort of like this thing that you see that's not really sustainable. And on the other hand, when you look at organizations that actually do pay their writers a decent sum, they pay them like an actual living wage. There are things like newspapers which are dying, and so it's
Yeah.
it's something that I kind of saw coming. And then a lot of those cutbacks are in video content actually, which is not as bad, and it's something that I think we all knew was also going to happen because the cost it takes for a company like that to set up, like run a studio and set up video content doesn't come close. It's actually a lost leader for them. It doesn't come close to making back what it is. I think Richard Lewis likes to talk about that. I think it's something that
Lewis likes to stop.
yeah, well, he does like to talk. It's something that
You guys.
it makes me sad, but I think the state of the world is that there's just not that many positions for people to do stuff like that. And places like On Gamers are just always sort of destined to not be that big, just as peer reporting sites. And that's just kind of the way it is.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I think with written content, it's come down to the kingmakers in curation, and there's one name that stands above all the others there, and that's fucking Reddit. Which is why a lot of this controversy around people getting banned from Reddit and On Gamers getting banned from Reddit is such a big deal. Because I think, was it even On Gamers themselves who estimated this, or maybe it's someone else, that like something like 75% of their actual traffic came from Reddit. So if you get banned from Reddit or something horrible happens to you, your site can implode overnight because it's the self-styled front page of the internet or whatever. Getting... we remember what I was talking about earlier with Twitch and discoverability, the fact that people just go on Twitch to find. Well, they go on Reddit to find as well. But in this case, whereas on Twitch you go to find channels that are hosted on Twitch, you go to Reddit to find stuff that's not hosted on Reddit. So you go to different sites and you get your traffic that way. So if you don't have an installed user base that's already kind of searching around, you're in big trouble because you've got to actively push traffic to those sites. Whereas, like, on YouTube, and this is actually why a lot of bigger companies, I think, like Rev3, for instance, they did a lot of stuff on their website for the longest time, Revision 3, and then they moved a lot of their stuff to YouTube because they realized the discoverability is just too important. Like, having to drive traffic to every single piece of content instead of having people just subscribe and then stumble upon your shit all the time, you just can't, it's almost like you can't not be there. And the equivalent for writing is Reddit. There isn't another equivalent, to the best of my knowledge. But that's controlled by a shadowy group of Illuminati that ban at will and give no fucks.
It's controlled by like 3 people that make all those decisions.
Pretty much.
So.
Yeah, 3 admins make all the decisions. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I mean, Reddit's the only place where you don't have to... I don't know. How do you describe it? You don't actually have to create your own critical mass in the form
Anything.
of following. You know what I mean? Like, your following is huge right now, TB. So you can do whatever. You could make whatever you want, and it'll probably do well. But when you're first starting off,
You have your own Reddit that does well.
yeah.
I mean, we made our own subreddit for that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers that I see from Reddit traffic are fairly minimal. Like, even when I get like front page of r/games, it's like 3%, 4% of total viewership. But as you were saying, for a lot of content creators, particularly writers, that could be 75%, 80% of their traffic right there.
Written content's
absolutely.
very hard if you're
Yeah.
not doing well on Reddit.
I mean, Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter works.
Twitter
And
helps.
Yeah, and I think the ARN gamers. I think the actual quote was it wasn't 75. It was a little bit lower than that because their Twitter. I think their social media was doing okay. I think is what they were saying. But Twitter works somewhat too, but it's a bit too ephemeral. Even though like Reddit is ephemeral too, but it lasts longer than a tweet. If you
Yeah,
a lot
that
of
shit
people miss
stays
the
on the
tweet.
front page. You
Yeah,
get on the front page of
exactly.
a subreddit that's big like r/games, that'll probably be there for days, and it scales down as well, like specialist subreddits. I think when I did my video about how the Heroes of the Storm artifact system was idiotic, it was on the front page of r/Heroes of the Storm for a week, like before it got pushed off there.
Wow.
And then as a result of the vote, it like ends up on the top list. So people that search by top list, they're always going to find that video. So it's insane how important that site is. I hate it. It's just awful that that's the case.
All right. So
But
what are
I
your
suppose there's the argument. What was it like before that?
so what are your thoughts, CB, on basically just how prevalent Reddit is these days versus community sites, right? I mean, TL used to be the
place,
everybody went to TL for SC2 stuff. Just stream listing, everything. We all went there.
And
all
now
went to
Reddit
the
has their own
forums.
stream list.
Yeah, now Reddit's their own
Fuck,
stream.
man.
So yeah, I mean, is this the age of? I mean, are community sites dead? I mean, in a way, or like if somebody's
It
trying to
depends
start
on the game. Like there's some that are very much alive, but I mean, if we were to go back to when I first started out on YouTube, what gave me a good kick wasn't Reddit. It was actually MMO Champion, because people were sharing my videos on MMO Champion, which was a very, very big forum for World of Warcraft. And that gave me a nice kickstart. I already had a fan base from WoW Radio before that, but that really, really helped a lot. I think it really comes down to individual games. Some games, the community sites are pretty much dead, and everything happens on Reddit. It got to the point with Tribes, and I think might be the case with Smite now as well, and I don't know what the fuck Hi-Rez is thinking doing this, where they closed their forums and moved everything over to Reddit. But you want to know why you want to know why they do that, right? Like why would you do that? It's because the larger your subreddit is, the more control you have over content over it, and more to the point, that can get you to the front page. Like a piece of content for your game can end up on the front page. We've actually had that from r/CynicalBrit. They've upvoted something so much, and I didn't ask them to do it or anything, but they uploaded something so much it hit the actual Reddit front page, and that's not even a big subreddit. So having a presence on Reddit is now about as important as having a presence on YouTube. You can't not be there. You've got to be there in some capacity, because if you're not, then, well, to many people, you don't even exist. And that sucks. It really does.
Also, having people comment and stuff, hopping over onto your subreddit when they've already got an account on Reddit, you get all of that. Ideally, a little bit of cross-pollination happens there.
Yes,
Between
absolutely.
your subreddit, other subreddits, maybe getting on the front page, stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you can speak to it, Will, right? For just being at Daily Dot. It's really important to you, right?
I mean, it's a weird relationship with Reddit, because something I found at Daily Dot that is really simple, but you wouldn't really think of, is that Daily Dot has gone out of their way to build their own audience, right? If you look at their Facebook page, they have something like 60K likes on there, and a lot of their social media channels have a lot of development, so they don't need necessarily to depend on Reddit for hits, but Reddit is still really important and is something that goes into the thought process. At On Gamers,
Do you have any numbers?
Well, Daily Dot covers a lot
say,
of other
average
things,
StarCraft article, like how much traffic's coming from r/StarCraft versus other sources?
I don't have numbers, and even if I did, I'm not sure if I'd be allowed to share.
I mean, Daily Dot covers a lot of other things too besides games.
Right, they're
So
a
it's-
bigger mainstream site with an esports section.
Yeah, so it's kind of unfair to compare something like. I mean,
That's
if we
true.
were to compare it, I'm not saying we are comparing, but if we were comparing On Gamers to like Daily Dot, it's actually hard to actually compare the two, because it's.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I think On Gamers has something really special with their video content, and I think it's it's the best. Like some of their interviews are just outstanding. The stuff Cyborg Matt does is fantastic. So I mean, they're two really different sites.
Yeah, no, agreed.
I don't know what the solution is.
I don't actually either. I mean,
even if Reddit implodes, there'll be the. I mean, because Reddit became big because Dig imploded.
Remember Dig?
You know? Yeah, I do remember Dig. Absolutely. Dig was arguably worse in some respects, although it wasn't so overtly racist and Stormfront.com. But it had a lot of problems itself, you know? It had issues with power, so-called power diggers. There was an account called literally The Power Digger that I believe was found out to have been paid to get all this shit to the front page. It was controlled by a cabal of power users. And, like, to some degree, that happened on Reddit as well, but it wasn't as insane because of the way that the subreddit system works, and you can basically create your own subreddit out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But eventually, Reddit will go that way. Something will go wrong that will fuck it up, and they'll go to the next site that does a similar thing, because for some reason, people really love upvoting and downvoting shit. It's becoming an element of all sorts of things.
Everyday life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. Well, you know, you're allowed one of two opinions, so, you know, pick which one carefully there. There's a lot of mob rule going on there, and a lot of the sort of
Mob mentality.
It was mob mentality, but also like the sort of it's completely gone.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
where yeah, I'm sure you do. Where something horrible's going on in real life and there's a big crowd of people around and nobody does anything.
Bystander effect?
Bystander effect. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, because like they'll see things going one way and they don't want to like do anything else.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say that maybe there's.
I might just be talking on my ass.
Do you think it's just the quality of the community sites? No offense, Nat. DL.net. But if
hurts, man.
I mean, if there was just better community sites, could that actually, surpass what's happening on Reddit right now, at least within a game?
The problem that you're running into there, and this is a discovery that everybody is starting to make, is that the average person is stupid and incapable of deciding. This sounds really bad, I'm sorry, but the average person isn't really capable of deciding, like, in terms of what content is quality and what content is not, and more in terms of, like, what content can be easily consumed and digested and then memeified. And then, like,
look at what gets upvoted on Reddit.
Well, I mean, you could still have a feedback system on your community site. That's, I mean, you could do that. You could still implement.
Yeah, but
that.
the downvote upvote system is fundamentally broken, and we've seen it time and time again. How the downvote upvote system does not give you the best content. It doesn't give you well-reasoned answers. It's only used. You upvote what you like. You downvote what you don't like. Valid discussion doesn't take place. All the fucking criticisms 4chan has of Reddit are completely valid. We've seen them play out over and over again. That popular. I can go post shit on the StarCraft subreddit, and people will upvote whatever the fuck I say because I've got a star. Except there are so many different reasons. You go to the front page, you see funny memes, you see factually incorrect stories upvoted, and then finally a comment will come out and say like, "Oh, this is actually wrong," but nobody read the fucking article because people are just upvoting, downvoting things.
Yeah, and then the counter jerk begins and starts.
Yeah, and then the counter jerk. Yeah, you've got the mob mentality. I mean, even the fucking United States of America was smart enough to we have a Senate for a reason, right? We have a Senate because we don't want California. We don't. The Senate is there are 2 senators for every state for every single state in the USA because even the fucking 200 years ago we knew that you can't do a
Reddit
mob
was a
rule.
bad idea.
Reddit was a bad
democracy mob rule has never worked.
Wow, they're so smart. Our founding fathers so smart.
Yeah. So the reason why I brought that up is because it's a strange question to ask if community sites would have been better, because do you mean better in terms of like higher
can they be better
content?
now?
Because the quality of the content that comes out of a lot of community sites is amazing. But it's not about it's not about the quality of the content. It's about how easily digestible and upvotable something is in an instant, which may or may not necessarily be quality content.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay,
top thing on Reddit right now is an epic meme with a socially awkward penguin. And then the second one is another epic meme where they put this Steve guy and this Bad Luck Brian together to create new OCs.
Yes.
But look at the third
my
topic.
god.
What
it's
the?
Smart Fox infused with an epic meme. It's Doge Fox.
It's Doge Fox.
Reddit too is like, even if you see a serious post, you go to the comment section, the top vote is always a stupid pun. It's always some stupid pun.
Oh my god, I
super
hate that
easy.
Here we go.
And then there's like 4 puns after it. And then the fifth thing is like a big bang
reference.
I was gonna dedicate my fucking stream. I actually said this like 6 months ago. I was like, okay, guys, at the end of every fucking stream, we're gonna go to the Reddit threads, and anybody that starts one of those fucking stupid pun threads, we're gonna just downvote the shit out of everybody in the fucking thread. We're gonna go through their fucking votes.
Yeah.
Until we all get shadow banned. I'll give all of the VPNs. We're gonna fucking do it. God, I hate that shit. The fucking crowd.
ChanManV, stop showing that on stream. Don't give it any more attention than it already has.
Oh, come on.
The
funny.
Destiny May Army.
With the
Oh my
Destiny.
god. All right.
All right, Will, man. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right. Well, let's wrap things
Oh,
up.
good. You're showing it on stream too. Perfect.
Yes.
Epic memes. Memes.
Memes, memes. All right, well, let's wrap things up, guys. Been a good show. And, man, been talking about a lot of stuff, too. But any shout-outs, thanks you want to do, Totalbiscuit?
Big thanks to all of those, of course, that tuned into the Destiny 1 stream and actually made that a really big success. I think it's very important that we have those really good online events to continue to supplement all of the live stuff, because when it comes to sustainability, online tournaments are the most sustainable thing we've got in this scene, which is why there will, I believe, be another Shoutcraft relatively soon, because I have a sponsor for it. So just keep an eye out for that. We'll do something really cool, just like we did the last time with SanDisk. Hopefully, maybe even a little bit better than that, since Pro League is now over. Rubbing my hands in glee. Outside of that, you can check out my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/cynicalbrit. We have a new Dota video up today, which involves an awful lot of salt and swearing, which is what Dota is all about. You can also check out my StarCraft channel, youtube.com/. Sorry?
Is that the one where you're playing Pudge? I saw a video where you're playing
It is the one where I'm
Pudge.
playing
Salt
Pudge,
and
yeah.
swearing.
Well,
I thought that was harsh
I'm
stuff,
just
man.
fucking shouting at myself
Good, yeah.
for missing
liked it.
hooks and getting really angry. You know,
So I
I
got
got into
rocked by
ranked, man,
BKB.
Heyoka. I'm in it. I actually placed. I have 2,900 MMR. Road to
Oh,
TI5
nice.
begins now.
Wow.
It's gonna be
Nice.
interesting. But,
3K soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We're climbing there. It's going to be good. But yeah, feel free to check that out. If you head over to the StarCraft and Axiom channel, which is youtube.com/Totalbiscuit, you will find some cool content there, including first-person VODs of our guys. And we also have a new video called Pro Gamers versus Battle Realms, which is our sponsor, GOG, has given us codes to play some various like classic RDS. We got Impact and Heart to play each other in a game called Battle Realms, which is really cool. So plenty of BM and awesome stuff there. We've got more videos like that coming. So please feel free to check them out. Big shout out to Axiom sponsors, GOG.com, Waz the Keyboards, and r/Bitcoin.
God, what a pro. I hate to follow him up, but Heyoka.
That's a crazy shout out list.
Heyoka, you got any shout outs or thank yous you want to do?
I don't even know if I have a shout out. I have like no follow up to that. I guess I'll give a shout out to my website. It's liquiddota.com, also teamliquid.net. Those, man, that's literally all I got. I have like no shout outs.
That's
I don't have
cool.
any sponsors. I have a few fans, I guess. I'll give a shout out to them. That's it.
All right,
I'm
cool.
done. That's all I got.
Steven?
I'll give a shout out to Ting, Destiny.gg/Ting. Check out their cell phones. Still have great data plans. Still have great phones. Is it worth it? Is there anybody out here that doesn't have a Ting cell phone that's ever going to buy one? Sometimes I wonder what the point of shouting them out over and over again is. How does that work?
Well, they have to be exposed to it to even have the
Yeah.
potential chance of, for to actually buy it.
Destiny.gg/shave, in case you haven't bought Razor's yet. If you're still an unshaven beast and you haven't heard about them yet, check them out too. Shout out to Totalbiscuit's Shoutcraft. I'm never going to work with Totalbiscuit again if he tweets the Indiegogo for that tournament. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks
There will
to
be no
Heyoka
Indiegogo,
and
I promise.
Totalbiscuit. Thanks to Heyoka and Totalbiscuit for joining us today. Thanks to ChanManV for having me as always. Thanks to you guys for watching. That's all I got.
I actually saw a Dollar Shave Club commercial on TV the other day. Have you seen that commercial with the founder? Have you guys seen that
Is
commercial?
it?
I have
is
not.
it the same one that we've been seeing on YouTube for 5 fucking years?
Is it the
with
same one?
bear
It's
and
probably the
shit?
same one. I actually saw it on TV though. It's just like, which is surprising.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that at all.
Yeah. You check it out.
That would
if you want
involve
to.
watching TV. That's
Yeah.
the first problem.
Dude, I've been watching that Quest. Have you ever guys seen the Quest or heard about the Quest, that show?
I have not.
You guys probably hate reality. It's a reality show that's.
I love reality shows.
Okay, so
That
it's
sounds
actually
incredible.
created. It's created by
I
the.
watch so many terrible reality shows.
It's created by the producers of Lord of the Rings. So they all got together and they basically made a fantasy reality show
I have heard
that's
of
on
this.
ABC, and it's crazy. The production of it is amazing. They have actors.
It
They
sounds
have.
potentially good, but also potentially absolutely terrible.
It's kind of
Honestly, if it would,
the reality
if it was a
part's
disaster,
terrible.
I would like it more.
but it's kind of interesting because they actually, you know, they create a real story around it, and the reality part of it's kind of, you know, the stupid contest. But it's, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to see that they put that kind of crazy amount of money into the production of it to really create this fantasy world, and just put people into it and force them into the story. Kind of interesting. Check it out, guys. ABC. They're not sponsoring us right now, so I just something I like.
Right
Anyways,
now.
thanks, guys.
But you are chasing it, right?
I'm chasing it, yeah.
ABC, the same thing that did aerial shots of the House
Oh,
of
yeah,
Robin
exactly.
Williams.
The
So
Robin
you are
Williams thing.
literally trying to get in bed with the devil here, Chan, I hope you're okay with that.
That's right. Sell out, man. Sell out. No, but thanks, guys, for watching today. You know, I know we missed last week, but hopefully we redeemed ourselves this week. And Richard will be back next week, guys. He's at GamesCon. Had a funeral today, too. You can check out the
Is that the
VODs.
funeral for the dead game?
Yeah, for the dead game.
The funeral for CS
I had to
1.6.
Which one? Which one? No.
Oh, God.
Rest in pieces.
No, you can check out the VODs, youtube.com/ChanManV. Parts 1 and 2 are probably up there already, but I'll have to post the next part or two
Man.
parts after that.
One of these
And-
unfiltered, we got to talk about Legacy of the Void. I feel like that's going to be like a really important time. Our last big opportunity to pick up a bunch of people for StarCraft.
Maybe they'll make an announcement at BlizzCon or some shit.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
sure.
they will make an announcement of BlizzCon. I mean, to be fair, that seems like the right time to do it, right? If
Yeah.
it's not, if they don't announce it this year, when the hell are they going to do it?
What are they-
products
always
they
announce
announcing? Every year they announce like some shit.
Yeah,
at
what are they
BlizzCon.
gonna announce
The
at
year they
BlizzCon?
didn't announce anything, they canceled BlizzCon.
There'll be a new adventure mode for Hearthstone, which me and Chris will be very excited about.
No, there
Yeah.
is not going to be one. That's the whole big thing, right? They're just
I
going
just
to.
want more.
They're only
I
going to
want
release
more
cards
web spinner
next time.
Challenges. I want to do that web spinner challenge all the time. I want that to be all of Hearthstone, just the web spinner deck.
Yeah, just what we need.
I don't want
Hearthstone
to,
be more
uh,
random than it already is.
Yes, pure randomness.
Destiny doesn't give a shit, guys. So
I don't want to play with any of your hearts and give you that awful hope, but what if they actually announced the spectator mode for Hearthstone?
Oh, I'll shit a brick, man.
God.
I'll shit a
Shit,
brick.
son.
Such a hard
man.
on
Oh,
just thinking
shit.
about it.
I
Put
know.
it-
Oh, my life will be
That's
so
the
much
final nail
easier.
in StarCraft
My
2's coffin
life will
right
be
there, right?
so much easier if
Oh
they
my
had an
God.
ops mode there.
Jesus.
No, that'd be pretty amazing. Well, there's got to be something about Heroes of the Storm at BlizzCon, right? I mean, something.
They have
Heroes of the
they're having a
Storm
tournament.
on iPad.
Oh, they haven't.
They
They,
claim they're having a tournament anyway.
Oh, they are
There was
having a
tweet
tournament?
that
Oh,
they
okay.
said they're having a tournament.
The time to
Get
start
ready,
playing that game.
get
again?
ready.
Yeah,
man.
dude, we get so many
Where's
emails
All-Star
now
Team?
from
All-Star
Heroes of the
Team?
Storm teams wanting us to sponsor them so they can go to BlizzCon. We get
There's
like
loads
15
of that.
them a
Well,
week.
didn't SC just
Guys, it
unretire
took
for the
them-
fifth
Yeah,
time
S-
and
SC is
create a
playing
Heroes
with
of the Storm
Crazy
team
Moving.
for Korea?
He's playing with Crazy Moving and Kong and Ace.
They don't even have servers
Wow.
yet. Like, Korea
Holy
has no
shit.
servers for this game.
Oh my god. Okay.
Did you notice how at the end of their announcement they're like, also we're looking for sponsors, so email us if you would like to sponsor us. It's like a thinly veiled sponsor request.
No, SC, I can't sponsor you. You retire again. Like, you've retired more times than... You've retired more than fucking Stefano's retired, man.
That's
Come
true.
on.
He's retired from multiple games
He's
too. Didn't he go to
retired
LoL
4
for a while?
times.
Yeah, he
4
went to LoL,
times?
then retired from that, then went back to StarCraft 2, then retired again.
I think it's 4 times, 3 or 4 times he's retired. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's
crazy.
4 times. I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
been 4
yeah.
times.
Oh my god. That's just wild.
That's good. That means he's a pro at it. That means he'll be really good the next time he retires. He has practice.
That's true. No, but guys, that's
Somebody
gonna.
in chat said Blizzard's gonna make Warcraft 4 with the Dota 2 engine.
I'm pretty sure someone
my
from
God,
Doge is
that
going to
would
beat into
be
the
it.
punch if they're not careful, because apparently that mod
Oh,
kit
jeez.
is sick.
This circle.
Yeah, someone's
is
already made
complete.
League of Legends in the Dota 2 engine.
Yeah, well,
Really?
that shouldn't take much. Just take out everything interesting about Dota 2 and then just
That would be
Scale
really
down the graphics,
hard
scale down
to
the
actually
everything.
code all of the bugs.
What?
Legacy code? I don't know if you could actually bugs and flaws and shit that exist in the League of
Oh.
Legends. All that.
Yeah.
To
Yeah, maybe.
port over all of the fucked up shit from League of Legends into
It'd
the
be
Dota
like
engine, I don't
the
know if you
Brood
should do
War
that.
mod in StarCraft 2, where it's like
It's not the same.
It's like,
yeah,
well, it
it's
kind of
sort of
works.
there,
Kind
but-
of, yeah.
but
It looks
Not-
too good.
I think what
Not really.
I think
Too
what
good.
someone was working on was Dota 2 versus LoL, which I think would be really interesting. Like you rebalance the LoL heroes.
That would be
And
interesting.
you have
Balance of Dota heroes.
and like the LoL heroes literally can't deny they're not allowed, but they get a buff to make something better for them. Like that,
Well, there
I'd
are.
play the shit out
Wait,
of that.
there are
That could be
repeat.
sick,
There are
yeah.
people. There are repeat characters in both, right? Or matching
There
characters.
are characters that are very,
Depends
very
on
fucking
who
similar.
you ask.
Like,
They're really
Yeah.
close. They're
Some
really,
will tell
really
you there's some
close.
copy-pasted characters from Dota. Others will say there's some heavily inspired characters from Dota.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right, guys, let's wrap the show. Again, guys, if
And
you
then the Han
enjoy
kids
it,
are in the background screaming, "No, that was copied. This one hero was copied from us. We swear."
Well,
We're still
that's-
relevant.
they're probably the ones
It's
that
okay,
got
don't
copied
worry,
the
we
most.
still have Cthulhu fan. We're just a relevant game. Strangely enough, they're still doing well. I don't know why.
All All right, guys, going to wrap up the show, and click the follow button if you enjoyed the show, and that's going to be it. Follow us all on Twitter, at ChanManV, at Totalbiscuit, at Steven_Banel, and at Real Heyoka. We will see you next week. Later.
Peace.